She's got a cut, baby. 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 Yeah, she's got like me. She's got a cut, baby.
$500 pussy cut, $500 pussy cut. $500 pussy cut, $500 pussy cut. I want the five, my pussy is worth that five. My pussy is worth that five. My pussy is worth that five.
Okay, so my name is Vixen 007. I walk performance, Vogue Femme, and I've been in the scene for maybe about 7 to 8 years, at least I think so.
And so how did you get started in the scene?
Oh, 7. I remember we were at his house one day, and I had known nothing about the scene or anything like that. I was actually trying to get into the club. I think I was about 16 years old, and he just started doing this stuff. And I was like, I've never seen nothing like that before in my life. I've never seen nothing like that before in my life, and that was my first exposure to voguing. After that, the House of Monroe started, and then I think you started voguing, and then Snoopy started voguing, Travoy started voguing, and then I eventually learned how to get it in too as well. And from there, we changed Toronto. Original Monroe's, right up in Pape, wherever Pape something, in the house, voguing down, full balls, fully making everything happen, fully being exposed, actually. The real exposure to the ballroom scene happened in Seven's house, and that's where the House of Monroe was created. From there...
Or House of Quran.
The House of Quran, yes, that's right. The House of Quran, I think, was closing down, or they weren't about this life in Toronto, or something to that effect. I'm not really sure, but we had to create our own name, and we sat there. I remember everyone sitting on the stairs trying to think of a name. I still believe that we should be called the House of Mongolia. It will come out one day. I know the kids, if anything, Tyra's going to definitely remember what I'm talking about right
Definitely, no shit. Definitely.
And then we came up with Monroe, which even some kids didn't really like it in the end. But we went with it because it made the most sense, especially for what we were doing in the scene at the time.
And not to mention Marilyn is that bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess that's the beginning of the real scene, and then let's talk about the beginning of the Kiki scene, because you were around for that too.
Okay,
because in essence, it's almost like
years
the
have
same
passed.
resurgence kind of happened, but it's like the same kind of formation, like how the Kiki scene started at Seven's house. I mean, the real scene started at Seven's house. The Kiki scene kind of started at Angel's house, per se. Like, that's when a lot of the sessions started happening and blah, blah, blah. And then the girls started becoming friends, and then they fell apart, blah, blah, blah. Kind of the same thing in the real scene. But how was the beginning of the Kiki scene for you? Because you were definitely there from the literal beginning, because I got the message and you were there from Mike, and you became mother right then. So
I remember the first rehearsal at, I think it was, what is that school?
York.
No, not York.
U of T.
U of T.
Oh yes, U of T. Yes, Heart House.
Like I said, a bunch of like newbies and some old people. So I think Angel was definitely part of that group. Slim Thick was a part of that group, as well as Sujin. Snoopy, obviously. I don't know if Dynasty was there from the start, but
he wasn't there from that beginning, though.
Okay.
No. Angel brought him in a little bit later.
And some other random faces. I can't even remember them.
Keisha was there at the beginning.
You know, we were all sitting in a circle.
Star.
There. Yes. Oh, Star. Yes. Just sitting in the circle there, and that's where it started. We did our first meeting, our house meeting, let everyone know what it is or what it means to be a house, and actually really taking the time now to develop what a Kiki scene was in Toronto. This is the most important part, I think, to me. The House of Monroe had done amazing things. We had totally gotten out there. The world was seeing us. They were interested in us. We could have taken it all the way. But in order to further and build our skills, we needed some type of competition in order to be a house. You need to have the ballroom go with the house. To me, at least.
Yeah.
And there was no one out there to compete with us. We were the baddest bitches in town, and no one was going to touch our creativity or what we were doing at that time. So, in order to help build that creativity, the Kiki scene was there to help develop that, to help us get a little bit more friendly competition, to get more people involved that weren't totally into it. There's a lot of people that are into it that weren't necessarily Monroes. But that doesn't deny what they feel and what they wanted to and how they want to express themselves, especially in the same way. So the Kiki scene helped to develop that. So by starting this, we were able to get other people going. So like TKO started Giselle, and then I think even Cash wanted to feel it, and then he got Sparta going, and that just made it hot. Now we have like battles and going on actually, and there's a real ball happening.
Even with the same girls.
Exactly. So now this helped people to relax a little bit more and to show that we're not all just like, only for ourselves, willing to share the love, and as well hopes that, someone else will create a house so that our real ballroom scene can actually get life. Because that's the point. It's not just about having Kiki scene. It's about taking it to the next level. At least that's what I remember.
That's what it always was meant to be.
Yes.
That's why when House of Nuance came along, I always shouted them out immediately. Yes, they might be bizarre, whatever. They might not be performance-based or runway-based, whatever. But the fact is they caught the vision right away and started a house. They didn't wait 6-7 years to do so, to join a house. They came in and within their first year, they grasped the scene, they grasped the Kiki scene and said, we're not supposed to be here anyways. Started their House of Nuance and it's getting life. And that's why you always have to shout them out, no shade. So being Mother Pink, what was like that for you?
There's a lot of pressure. Because at the time, like, I'm totally about like making things happen and like helping the dream and being like, go team. But with being that, it's like you have to accept a level of face that I think I was really scared of at the time. I didn't want to be a legend per se. Sure, you want legendary status as well. If you're in the ballroom scene, you want to go for the top. But I was totally comfortable with just teaching the kids that, look, you need to carry yourself a certain way when you go out. If you are going to go on the floor, go fucking full out, go for it. Make something happen. Go all the way. And as well, if we're going to build something or build a building or have a building one day, then these are the foundations that it takes. I was about that life. I didn't want to be on the front. So it was a lot of pressure for me because in ballroom scene, you need to have your face up. You always have to be out there. And I think that's what always kept me shying away because at the time before I got into the Kiki scene, I'd already left the House of Monroe. I'd already said to myself that this is not exactly the road that I wanted to go down. But because I saw there was an opportunity to make something better and bigger and give everyone a chance, how could I not take it? Especially doing so much at that point, right? So for me, it's like, I don't know, catch-22, I don't know.
Where was the pressure for you? Like the most?
Pressure was definitely having to be out there, terrified to vogue in New York, even though I think my pressure helps me to do well. Like when I go out and I'm being forced to have to battle, I pull certain things out of my nerves that really help. But just the anxiety going up to that, the wardrobe, for one. Like I am very, I guess, feminine or whatever. I think I'm the epitome of what a butch queen is. I'm definitely masculine when I want to be, definitely feminine at the same time. But I think with the ballroom scene, I always was afraid of affecting someone in a negative way, mainly my family, by wearing a tutu. Do you know what I mean? Not because I'm ashamed of the tutu. I know how the tutu makes me feel. I know what I can give when I'm in the tutu, but it's just like other people may not feel that. And because they won't feel it right away, I think I shied away from that. Because really and truly, I think I could definitely be a legend if I want to. Do you know what I mean? I think I definitely have what it takes if I definitely put the work into it, because that's really what it takes. How much work do you have? How much talent do you have? And I guess how much motivation to keep it going once you realize all those things, right? So all those pressures and then not really truly wanting to be my end goal made it too much for me to decide that I want to give all that effort to it, and therefore I just ran away. I'm just negative, scared, and just not into it. And I made my own decisions, and those decisions have helped me as well. I'm in a good place right now in my life.
Okay.
I dance and I live my life, right?
I was gonna say, you want to talk about that a little bit. So what do you do outside of the scene? Because you're not really, I guess, for the girls who do follow the ballroom scene, they don't really get into your life per se, because you're not really like posting too much stuff out there, kind of stuff like that, like how the girls do, like in the groups and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So people don't really know T, I guess. So you want to almost break a little bit down. What do you do outside the scene? Yeah.
Okay, what do I do outside the scene? I am a dance instructor, I'm a dancer, and I'm an emerging choreographer. I dance for Julie Black, and as well, I teach classes. I think I already said that. That's all I really do. It's just an everyday thing. There's not one thing, it's just always going. I've had the opportunity to travel a lot, appear in music videos and such. It's been fun, and that's really what I'm about, and that's my life.
Okay, good. So then, how did being a dancer translate into voguing? How does it, if it does? What do you take for yeah? How does it differ? How is
When
it
you
the
say
same?
that, automatically I think dancing and voguing is like a clash. Like I've always been ridiculed because voguing is an expression. Like you have to like a dancer doesn't just vogue just because they can dance. The person that walking down the street, the fat guy walking down the street, can vogue if he wants to express himself that way, if he wants to let it out. Sometimes the calculation of dancing messes up with my vogue and the actual expression. It's like I'm too busy thinking about what's the right thing to give you rather than completely giving myself. And I think maybe that's even where some of the battle with vogue came for me, because it was like, I really want to dance, but voguing is like, you're not dancing, you're just being. And I don't know, that was really tricky. Let's get back to the question again, what was it?
So then, I guess that's how you kind of compare the two. So you completely separate your
you have
dancer.
to separate them too, but because they're not the same. Do you know what I mean? Yes, dancers can vogue, and probably it's easier for them to vogue because their bodies already are
Well, the
used to
technique
moving.
side.
You know what I mean? And in some cases, some voguers, Snoopy, look amazing when they vogue and they use their technique, if they use it in the right way. Mm-hmm. If they use it to their advantage rather than, look, I'm doing ballet.
I think it actually is like, it's good that you're saying this, because this is how I feel. I feel the exact same way. Voguing is not supposed to look like, the ballet at the end of the day, even if you do incorporate some ballet stuff in it. Like even Prince Milan and stuff like that, like a good example. Like he's extremely flexible, trained and all that, Alex Mugler or whatever. But if you're seeing them dance on a stage versus seeing them vogue at a ball, it's completely different. And yes, they can do them both, but they realize that the essence of ballet, maybe the word is essence, the essence of voguing and the essence of any other form of dance is not the same. Voguing is drenched in sex, it's drenched in being kind and feminine, whatever. It's not drenched in strength and center and blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. I think you actually really struck a good point with that, separating voguing and dancing. So let's bring it back to the ballroom scene. Mm-hmm. You took breaks and came back and stuff like that.
Gosh.
Why? Not getting into specific details, whatever, but like, and how, why per se, if you want to kind of be vague about it, whatever, and how did it help you? Because I feel like when you came back, you didn't really come back late, thank God, right? There are people that came back when they take these breaks.
And it's like, what happened?
Right, absolutely, like what the hell happened? So for you, your breaks and your returns are very, very different. You've made returns on one that night, kind of stuff like that. So let's talk about that, because your ballroom journey is definitely different from the Twysted, the TKO, the Cash, the Consistent Girls, the Snoopy.
Yeah.
Your story is very, very different. So,
Yes. Okay. I took breaks because I was confused and I wasn't sure about my vogue. And therefore, you really shouldn't walk a ball if you're confused about it. You should know what you're going in there for and why you're going to win. So because of that reason, I didn't really walk often. There's been many, many cases that I've wanted to come out and show out. I think Black Cat had a ball where it was like red and yellow and like you had to be like a ninja or some shit, and I was like, fuck, I know I would eat that. Or all these other times that I just actually resisted because of those doubts and those fears. When it comes to coming back, there was actually a lot of fear and a lot of nerves, but a lot of excitement as well. I'd reach out to like my girls, especially Angel. Angel helped me out through a lot of the times when I wasn't in it, because when you're not in it, it's not just, you can't just be a part of a clique. You can't just get into the top of the politics that way. You have to play it properly. There's a game to it. And it's not necessarily negative, it's just something that you have to understand when it comes to your status and what you're putting out there. So I had to reach out to girls on my level, and Angel is definitely one of those girls, and that's why I respect her so much. And honestly, if it wasn't for her, I don't even think I would vogue as much. I think I would have lost it even more, and I probably would have come back late. Do you know what I mean? But she kind of kept that energy inside of me, and then when there would be balls, it's like, okay, go out there and do what you know how to do. Be who you are. Projecting like, words. Okay, what is your name? Vogue like your name. Do you know what I mean? Things like that to help you really make it exciting, and also remind people of what you already do. Do you know what I mean? At this time, I've actually won a lot of grand prizes. I won a lot of battles, and I've done pretty well for what I can say I've done in the scene. So it's about looking to that and remembering almost who you are. I feel like freaking like Sailor Moon, and she doesn't remember that she's like fucking like the Moon Princess, and she's just living on her. Do you know what I mean?
exactly. That's good. That's really good. So, what goes through your mind when you're voguing?
way too much. But when I'm on, it's just like yes. It's just like yes, and it's a lot of moaning, and it's just like total hormone release. Like that's what it feels like when I'm on. Other times you can tell when I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, what did that person think about what I just did? Because being a dancer, I'm always being used to being criticized. So in the ballroom scene, I think you're being criticized to like the extreme. Someone will tell you about who you really are in like 3 seconds, and that honestly is just too much for me. I'm just too soft. I just can't take it. But when I'm on, it's just a really good feeling. It's a very strong feeling. Almost like, I guess, indestructible.
That's a good word. That's a really good word. I hope the girls are listening. I'm sure the girls will watch the video because I know they're going to be gagging that I did an interview with you or that, you know, this is going down, I'm sure. So the girls will definitely watch this one. But that's why I hope they're also taking notes because this is somebody to look up to as far as...
information.
Yeah, exactly. So then what are your hopes as far as Vixen goes in the scene? Are there any, is it just a supporter? You still want to walk a little bit? Do you want a status in the future? Like, do you ever? Well, in essence, I think that regardless, you're still definitely a Toronto legend as far as I'm concerned, because your legends do stuff that wasn't done before, and we started the scene. So that's that alone. We were the starting of the scene, so we are legend as far as the scene goes. And the other girls, they have to do something else that we have not done. So they cannot get legendary status off of starting the scene. They have to get their legendary status off of their talent per se, even though we started the scene and still have talent, so they can't really read us, no sure. Right? But what are your goals for Vixen? Yeah, so where do you see Vixen?
Vixen is personally just another character in my life. She comes around when she wants to. This interview, I had to like bring her up. I almost sound crazy, but I had to like find Vixen really quick and go back there because really and truly she's just been chilling. I do get excited to Vogue, and even last Pride really made me want to come out a lot. And I think I'm going to continue to do that, just be random and be like that wild card in the scene because I don't think I can play it any better than that. I think if I give the girls too much, they'll get bored of me, and I'm not into that. I'd rather always be exciting. And personally, I'd always like to win. I think the truth, though, if Vixen was really to come out, there'd be always a cash category. Unfortunately, that's really tough to ask. You know what I mean? I'm just being selfish at this point. But honestly, if there was always a cash category, like every time I knew that there was going to be a ball, there's going to be a cash category for Vogue, like $200, I'd fucking come out because I have rent and shit to pay. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you just have to like tell a girl what it is to get this money. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, you know, life is life, and people don't just have money to put up for you to have. But when there's a little bit of a dollar on the line, I feel like I'm getting my payback for what I've done.
Yeah, so it's like you're
I feel
putting
like,
on a show.
It's worth it for me to
Yeah.
be, okay, Vixen. Because if Vixen is all that she should be, then Vixen should receive certain things.
Money
in my
is one
eyes.
of
But
those.
if I'm not gassed, so I don't give that.
Well, Vixen can be, even if you're not guessed as a person.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you have, as long as people know the separation. Because I don't want girls walking by me or and then hugging me or trying to say hi to me on the street on another day. Do you know what I mean? I don't need all of that. It's just like, look, I'm very simple, straight to the point. If there's money and there's certain girls that are even worth battling, I'm definitely about that life.
Okay, I love it. That's good. Are you going to be at the Pink Ball? You were at the first one.
Okay, when is the pink ball? Oh
Our
my
Pink
God,
Ball is this Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now
I
we
can
have
possibly do it.
$100 for performance. We're trying to increase that by Saturday. So you never know. I know this is on video, kind of spontaneous, but yeah, you were definitely mother at the Pink Ball. You passed the torch on. Oh my God, let's go
was
back to
epic.
that.
That was an epic
Let's
ball.
go back to that Pink Ball, that first Pink Ball. How was that for you? Because that was the day that you left the house officially. Like it was this grand.
I don't even want to be so real right now. It was fine.
No, girl, come on, like.
I was very sad. It was very hard for me to step down at the time, and it was probably, I don't know, just really, really hard to do. It's like almost like you gave birth, and then you gave away your kid. Like that Halle Berry shit. Yeah. But whatever. It was what it was, and at the time, it was so necessary. And sometimes hard decisions have to be made. So it happened, and I gave my heart out for the last battle as well too. And I think I just left it on the floor, as you should.
Definitely. And so now that you're seeing both of your daughters, I guess,
Yes,
the Mother
mothers.
Pink, how was that feeling for you, at least, to know that, you know,
They were successful, and of course that makes me excited. That's all I would really want for anyone and everyone, not only my Kiki kids, but like anyone that's actually aspiring to be a part of this. You should go for success. The hell are you doing here if you're not really trying to make it happen? And you don't have to make it happen the way that every other person makes it happen. You can be original and make something happen and be successful. You can be that father, you could be that mother, you could be that overseer, you could be that strong supporter. There's so many titles to make yourself successful in the scene if you want it. My mom says, life is what you make it. And that's it.
So before you go, who would you feel like some of those people in the scene that you would say are putting on for the scene, in essence?
Oh my
Like,
gosh. Putting on for the scene, I really don't know. I'm not really around, guys. Like, I don't know what's happening in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll hear certain things, but unfortunately, when I hear things, if it's only from one opinion, I can't really go from it because there's so much to the story. So I don't really know what's going on. If you ask me who I'd like to see really put some stuff out there or really make some statements beyond just on the floor, but like, you know, in terms of building the scene, I would say Snoopy. I would say Miyoko, really and truly, because I feel like she's like the pioneer for the Femme Queen girls. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't think she knows, like, you're the first, you're the Tay-Tay. No shade, I'm not trying to call it your shit girl, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, they don't even know that. And how much that changed our lives. Do you know what I mean? To see a girl go get it done and get all the things fixed up, it's like, whoa, did I just see that? So, someone like her to be a pioneer for them. Do you know what I mean? For girls that are killing it right now, like Samaya as well. Like Samaya, I live for her in a way that I was like, whoa, girl, you don't even know how you have my heart. Just to see you come to an LSS would be like, almost like you could be our Sanaya. Do you know what I mean? So that's a big deal, and I don't think people know that there's still so much history to be made.
right, they
And
think
I don't
it's done
think,
already.
you know what I mean? So for me to say who are pioneers, I think I have to fix on my statement. I don't think there's necessarily full pioneers yet.
Or who
I
else
think
do you
there's
see?
people
Who
to,
else
like,
do
really
you?
making it happen.
Yeah. So who do you see? Who else do you see?
Samaya, Snoopy, Angel for one, and last but not least, I'll be extra. I'm gonna call it Marvel. I think Marvel can really make some more statements for the scene. Yeah, right. He's fucking Father Monroe. I can't even say him. So I'll leave it at those four.
Okay, no problem. So
I tried to be shady. It didn't work because the history comes in, honey.
right, exactly. No shade from the beginning of the house, even before Tyra was mother. All right. Well, I would like to say thank you for doing it. It's done. So
Yes.
it
Thank God
was
for
done.
editing.
Right. And it's not really going to get edited too much anyways. But thank you for doing it. Definitely, I hope people, like I said, are paying attention and really heard what you had to say, because you were here from the beginning and it's just a spotlight interview. So we may hear more from Vixen in the future. So there's hope, whatever she's around. But if you're at the Pink Ball, we will definitely get your opinion after the function with the group cast interview.
This Saturday.
Yeah, the
What
ball
does
is
it call for a performance?
everything is just pink with a
okay,
hint of black and
nice.
white, and you can mix it with black and white as much as you want.
Okay.
Just pink the new black. So it's a colors ball, bringing it back to the
Okay.
days. So yeah, and yeah, so we hope to see you on Saturday, and thank you for being a part of the interview.
All right.
And we hope to see you after the function.
So long.
All right.
Beat.